Mhm.
Okay, so welcome to Monday Night Live. We have with us tonight Patricia Keough. She is with Newfound Tours, and she's going to talk to us about all the wonderful things there are to do in Newfoundland and
Yes.
wherever else she supports. Tell me a little bit about your background, and you can tell me how much snow you guys had.
Sure, yeah. As you said, my name is Patricia Keough. I'm the owner and operator of Newfound Tours, a tour company based here in St. John's, Newfoundland. Yeah, the only thing you need to know about Newfoundland during the winter is to wear layers. We are an island in the Atlantic Ocean of Canada. I know your viewers are worldwide, and this video can go anywhere once it's on YouTube, so I'll over-explain a few things. And we are an island, and we're at the mercy of anything that can happen there. So we got 115 centimeters of snow just this past week, which works out to be about 45 inches, about 3 feet of snow. And that's in a reserved area. So it was more in some places and less in others. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if I remember what you said earlier, you were having trouble getting back home for a while?
Yes, the airport was canceled. They weren't taking any more flights. St. John's International Airport was closed. The city of St. John's and surrounding area was in a state of emergency, and so that meant nothing was happening. Being, well, just in Toronto for a few days, a layover in Halifax for a few days, and now we're here, which is great. So hopefully the snow will, taper out. Maybe that's all we got for the winter, and that'd be great. Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing about it, it'll be gone by the time most of our visitors come to see you.
Yes, that's right. No one really comes for the weather. That's how it is. But just always dress in layers. That's the only thing you need to know.
Okay, so tell me, we'll start with my typical pattern of questions. For somebody that's coming to Newfoundland for the first time on a cruise, what is it that they should know about Newfoundland, and what is there to see and do that would be of interest to somebody?
Sure, yeah. So the city of St. John's is one of the first ports as you enter into Canada from maybe Greenland or the UK. We get a lot of cruise ships from Germany. So as those people come, we had 52 cruise ships land here last year, almost 55,000 people. And for the most part, they just stay in downtown St. John's. It's maybe about a 2 or 3 block radius going each way and just a few blocks in and out because a lot of the cruise ships don't stay the night. They are only here for a few hours. An attraction that a lot of people like to go up to is Cabot Tower. That is, it's where Marconi sent the first transatlantic signal from England over to Newfoundland. But it's a beautiful little spot. I mean, just the vistas you can see, it's one of the most easterly points in North America. So, I mean, all you're looking at is ocean and there's nothing past it. And that's really mind-blowing. A lot of our cruise ships for this 2019 season came in about March, April, May this year. And that's a time that a lot of people like to come, really because of icebergs. We are an iceberg alley, and it just kind of flows down the eastern coast of Newfoundland from Greenland. And they'll go along our coast and as far as Maine. I mean, if they're gigantic, it'll take them all it'll take them all spring to melt. But what I do have for you in this dead of winter is a piece of iceberg to show you. So this is my collection of iceberg ice from the summer. And I bring it on tour with me, not this big piece, but I do bring pieces of iceberg on tour with me. And I'll see, they froze together. Oh my goodness. But that's what it looks like.
Oh, very cool. You can see the blue in it.
Yeah. And I mean, it just looks like a piece of ice on the camera, but to feel how cold it is, and it has a smell, like there's more oxygen in it than ice that we're really used to or seen and experienced before. So I like to bring it with me, and you get a hands-on little approach to it on my tours. And so for someone coming through, it's primarily during a few of those months and in the springtime, but a lot of people stay downtown. You can take cabs to Cape Spear, which is technically the most easterly point in North America. And what I like about both of those locations is they're Park Canada locations. So if there is any mobility concerns, I mean, it's a federally run site, so it is all accessible throughout.
Oh, well, very nice, because that is, one of the things on my channel, we focus a lot on accessibility. It's kind of interesting to me. I was looking and I noticed that, and I didn't check to make sure, but I noticed that Princess this year is going to start running some Greenland cruises. So I would imagine, because they're running out of New York and up to Greenland, so I would kind of imagine they would come back by and say hi to you sometime during the year.
It's possible. Yeah, we are the last stop. A lot of the time it's either St. John's, a part of Newfoundland, or Halifax is another great location for cruise ships.
Okay, and so if you're taking somebody that comes to Newfoundland on a tour, what is it that, so let's say that my wife and I, with her wheelchair, get off the ship. What are the things that you would take us to see and do?
Sure. So the most popular tour that I run is a 90-minute historic tour of downtown St. John's. It's a 3.2-kilometer loop. I don't know what that is in miles, but it's a 3.2-kilometer loop. And there is a slight elevation gain, but I broke it up in stages. So it just kind of, you get a little bit of rest throughout some of it. And it is all outdoors. For the most part, a lot of the most beautiful things to see in Newfoundland are all outdoors. So some of the things that we would go and see is the National War Memorial. It's on the main street in downtown St. John's. And it just finished its completion, and the anniversary was about 100 years ago. So, I mean, it's just historic. And it's preserved as it was when it was built and completed. And what I do is I take photos from the archives, and we'll stand in place where the photo was taken. And then you get a chance to really kind of be involved in looking at the history while you're standing at that spot.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So are your tours mostly walking tours then?
Yeah, they are walking tours.
Okay.
If there was anything that, outdoor tours. Another one that I offer, I mean, if it was a little bit of a smaller group or just you and your wife, I would suggest Kitty Vitty Lake or the Kitty Vitty area. It's an old fishing community, and it is so cute. The community really tries very hard to keep it authentic. You can't build apartment buildings, and I mean, they're modernizing it enough. It is picking up a little bit of pace, but it's not going to be overrun. The villagers do not want that. So Kitty Vitty is a great little spot, and it's all paved and it's flat. So we can, and it's not very big, so you get your chance to go through and just really enjoy what you see. So that would be, if you wanted to spend the most time and just kind of go through and read all the historic plaques, Kitty Vitty is a great option.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. What about, so let's say I've been to Newfoundland a couple of times, and let's take a mobility issues out of the picture. So now you got a healthy traveler that's been there a couple of times. What are you going to take them to see?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to say that I would take them to my favorite places. You get your top, I mean, you can Google, top things to see in St. John's. And I just did that on TripAdvisor. And all the top 6 are all outdoors, and they're all like statues and monuments, which are beautiful. I absolutely do recommend them. But they're not letting you know where the locals go. So I would take you to my favorite fish and chips place. I would take you to my favorite coffee shop on the wharf. And I mean, these places don't even have Google accounts. They barely have a Facebook account. So I mean, they're really low key, and that's just how they like it. So I would go and introduce you to the fish shop, and we can go and see cod that was caught that day. You could buy octopus if you wanted. I mean, those are the places that I would take you if you've been here a few times. Because I mean, you get a chance to see Newfoundland, but when you really meet the people and see the community aspect, I think that's when you really get to appreciate it.
Okay. And so for those that are foodies and that are, let's say, pub hounds, that like to get into the local food and beverage scene, what are things like there in St. John?
Yeah. So one of the things that St. John's is most, well, I think everyone just knows about it, whether it should be famous or not, is the screech in. To get screeched in, you become an honorary Newfoundlander, and you have a saying. You would have a traditional fare, like a piece of hard bread or hardtack, kind of like a crouton, or you would have candy. This company is called Purity, and they make these tiny little bonbons. So you would have a piece of candy, you would say a Newfoundland saying, and then you kiss a cod. And that's what the screeching ceremony is about. They're mostly performed in an area of downtown called George Street, and there's more bars per square foot there than anywhere else in Canada. So that's where you would go first. Now, if you're thinking, like having a beer is really good, but I'd also like to see another place. I mean, there's some favorites for sure. Merchant Tavern is in an old bank in downtown St. John's, and the aesthetic is really there. I mean, they really put the thought into the decoration and the function, and well, just it being functional as a bar and restaurant. But they really took the time to make this beautiful menu as well, and paired with drinks. So, I mean, that's always a favorite. And then another really famous restaurant downtown is Raymond's. It was voted the best restaurant in Canada 2018, I believe, by Rouge Magazine. And it's fantastic. Even if you go to the bar and just order a drink and a dessert, I mean, you don't need a 7-course full meal. Just go to the bar, experience it. And then in Kitty Vitty is Mallard Cottage. But that's a little bit outside of St. John's. It's not. It's a 5-minute drive from downtown to Kitty Vitty.
Okay.
They're the same municipality, though.
Okay. And so tell me about what makes the Mallard Inn? Is that what you said? Mallard Lodge?
Yeah. Mallard Cottage is Todd Perrin's the owner, and he tries to make as much food that he can resource locally, he will. The plates come from Blue Moon Pottery. Last I heard, don't quote me on this, but the last time I was there, he used pottery from a local artisan. The shirts are printed here in St. John's. He'll have enough food for the menu, and he'll sell out of things. So you're not getting food or meat that's been frozen. It's fresh, fresh, fresh. The really nice idea behind it, though, is that it's at Mallard Cottage. The Mallard family lived in this home for, I want to say, at least 100 years, probably more. But it's the oldest wooden structure, debatably, in North America. So it's hundreds of years old. The aesthetic is just beautiful, and the food is fantastic. So Mallard Cottage is on the top list to visit. Okay.
All right. Well, very good. I appreciate very much you being with me tonight. You've been a great guest. What I will do for everybody that's watching and that watches on the replays, I'll be answering questions, and if I can't answer them, I'll forward them to Patricia for answers. There'll be a link down below to Patricia's website. So if you're visiting on a cruise, or if you just want to go to visit Newfoundland and be an honorary Newfie,
yes,
you can. You'll have a way to get a hold of her. Thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much. Bye now.
Bye.